right, let's call to order the Sparks City Council meeting for April 22nd with a roll call.
Mayor Lawson.
Here.
Council members Abbott.
Here.
Vanderwell. Here. Anderson.
Here.
Bybee.
Here.
Dare. City Attorney Duncan. Here. Assistant City Manager Martini.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have our invocation by Simone Holtam. Did I get that right? Of the Baha'i Faith.
Hello. Oh, great. Should I face that way?
Whichever way you'd like.
Thank you for allowing the Sparks Baha'is to read from the sacred writings of the Baha'i Faith. O thou kind Lord, this gathering is turning to thee. These hearts are radiant with thy love. These minds and spirits are exhilarated by the message of thy glad tidings. O God, let this American democracy become glorious in spiritual degrees, even as it has aspired to material degrees, and render this just government victorious. Confirm this revered nation to upraise the standards of the oneness of humanity, to promulgate the most great peace, to become thereby most glorious and praiseworthy among all the nations of the world. O God, this American nation is worthy of thy favors and is deserving of thy mercy. Make it precious and near to thee through thy bounty and bestowal.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Bybee, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
Absolutely. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's move on to public comment. First up, we have Catherine Tyson. Did I get that correct? Followed by Commissioner Mike Clark.
Yeah, the first page is fine. Does it show? Oops, sort of.
Is that better?
Yeah. Thank you. My name is Catherine Teason, and I live in the Preserve, a gated community situated on Disk Drive between Sparks Boulevard and the Galleria Parkway. In 2006, when this community was planned, 2.7 acres of the North Truckee Drain running through the community was declared open space. In 2015, when our community was transferred from the developer to the Homeowners Association, we were told the drain is not the Preserve HOA's maintenance responsibility. Recently, we have become concerned about the drain's ability to function as an efficient storm drainage system. Sustained water levels in the drain are now near our rock wall footings, and if this continues, can degrade our rock walls and possibly cause costly HOA-funded repairs. Much of the water level rise is due to numerous beavers who have built dams in the drain adjacent to our development, but also to increased runoff from new Spanish Springs construction. The ore ditch drains into the North Truckee Drain Channel at several points north and south of the preserve. Adding to the beaver dams and water runoff from new construction, the drain from Sparks Boulevard south to the 7M Ranch is inundated with invasive weeds and cattails that impede efficient water flow. The channel to our north is sprayed for mosquitoes every year, but not in the preserve. The new ponds and standing water will be a mosquito breeding ground this summer. The fence between the preserve and the 7M Ranch is again blocked with runoff debris. Open space maintenance is typically Parks and Recreation responsibility. However, Public Works Maintenance and the Engineering Division also have drain maintenance tasks. Since 2016, we have contacted the City of Sparks every year about maintenance, and the response has been once to clear the debris collected by the 7M Ranch fence, and once to have the Sheriff's Prisoner Work Crew clear weeds from approximately 10% of the preserved drain area. Nothing in the past 5 years. I have contacted the Army Corps of Engineers regarding their responsibility and have offered little assistance other than a permit would be required only in the event equipment is needed to clear in the drain channel. I have walked the drain from the preserve to Sparks Boulevard and see only brackish, standing, and slow draining water. I submit the pictures taken along that walk for your review. We are asking the city to fulfill its commitment to the preserve and other communities affected by the North Truckee drain to keep the channel in good condition for proper storm drainage. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mike Clark, followed by Tom Green.
Showing up. Can't get the whole page in here. Good afternoon. My name is Mike Clark. I'm here as a private citizen. I'm a county commissioner, but I'm not here in any capacity with the county. I wanted to talk about a Facebook page posting by the mayor. The mayor decided to call me out on a vote that I had. I just would like to make sure that the mayor understands I haven't in the past called him out on his votes, although I think a lot of them are illogical decisions, but I've got a statement I'd like to read. As you said on Facebook, Mayor Lawson, let me get this straight. I vote against an ordinance and you call me out. I vote no so people can still sleep in their cars because they're uncomfortable or afraid to go to the Nevada's CARES campus, and you claim I'm voting against one particular Republican. I was against this ordinance in December of 2022, long before I'd ever heard this other appointed commissioner's name. I spoke during public comment at the commission meeting before being sworn in as a county commissioner. It's on YouTube. You can look that up. So maybe you should do some homework, Ed, and get your facts straight. You called me an extremist, so now we're into name calling, and claimed I was voting for political gain. Then you urged the people to do your homework before they vote. I'll go one better, Ed. I'll urge all voters in Sparks to vote out the city council members and incumbents and break up your good old boys club. The city of Sparks has got some great candidates running against the incumbents. Voters have options. Oh, and Ed, I'm only here because of your Facebook rant, but I might come back at every meeting and take a few minutes to refresh folks' minds to vote the incumbents out until the primary in June. You later ranted that I filmed Tom Green at the Nevada's CARES campus. Nothing could be further from the truth. Tom has a professional film crew. They film him. Again, Ed, get your facts straight. You said I couldn't get Tom into the space, meaning the CARES campus. I didn't even try. You then go on to say that you have 10 or 15 sheriff's deputies to show up to back you up. I did a public records request, and the sheriff's department doesn't know what you're talking about. Rant on, Ed, rant on. I had a meeting this morning, lasted an hour, with a journalist from UNR. We talked about how the increase in homeless deaths has increased here over the last year. It's almost doubled from what it was the year before. I find that just disgusting. If people had an opportunity to sleep in their car, maybe some of those folks wouldn't have died to the elements and exposure. So I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to help people that don't have $5 together, and the county wants us to fine them possibly $500 for sleeping outdoors. And if you support that, I think you're on the wrong side of humanity. Thank you.
Okay. Tom Green, followed by Chris Garvey.
I wasn't really planning on speaking today. I put my name down just in case you guys arrested Mike Clark. But, you know, I've been maligned by a member of this board for doing nothing more than trying to help somebody. I was hired as a licensed private investigator to find a missing person, okay? And there's no purporting about that. That's what occurred, okay? And I never tried to bully my way into any place, Ed, okay? I went down there and I asked questions and I was allowed in certain spaces, okay? Unlike you, I don't get special access because I'm not part of that little club. So when I have to go down there for work and help people try to find their loved ones because the CARES campus refuses to tell them where their loved one's at, they have to hire somebody like me to go down there and pound the pavement and talk to people and flash their photo because the cops aren't going to do it. They're busy doing other stuff. So I don't appreciate being maligned. I don't appreciate being called a bully. And I certainly don't appreciate my character being impugned. Like, I don't know what tangible evidence you would point to that would call my character into question at all. I did 26 and a half years at the sheriff's office. I retired at the top of my game. I didn't leave because I had to. I left because I wanted to. And, you know, when an elected official says that they're going to grab 10 to 15 sheriff's deputies to support their truth, not the truth, their truth, that's kind of chilling. And it's even more chilling when I reach out to the sheriff and ask him, are you beholden to the mayor at Sparks for some reason that he's going to be able to gather up 10 to 15 witnesses to an event that there was 3 uniformed deputies there for this event? So who are these 10 to 15 people that are going to show up and testify against me and say that I did something wrong? Like, that sounds to me like somebody's trying to do some political maneuvers. But either way, you know, I don't want to be at war with the city of Sparks. This is the best city in the region, clearly. You guys have a tough job to do. I've said that before. Yes, I'm critical of you sometimes, but guess what? That's what you get when you're a public official. And you have to listen to jokers like me come up here and throw spears at you. That's just the way it goes. Sorry. But anybody that wants to go down to the CARES campus for a tour is not going to be able to go. So we should quit talking about that. And let's talk about what the CARES campus like it is. It is a prison without prison guards. It is unsafe. It is a bloated bureaucracy of nonsense. Anybody that doesn't believe me, drive down 4th Street, park your car and go for a walk and see what you see. Hang on to your wallets, and I'd suggest you be armed because you will not see a cop anywhere in sight unless they happen to be responding to a call there. There's zero proactive policing occurring down there. So anyway, that's all I got. Have a good day.
Okay. Chris Garvey.
Hi, Chris Garvey. I am a resident of Ward 1, and I am running for Sparks City Council, Ward 1. I'd like to speak today about the employment agreement between the city and Dion Lothan, who has been chosen as our new city manager. I'd like to welcome him virtually, and I am hopeful that he will help us heal from some of the trauma and discourse that has happened in our city. I am disappointed, though, that the council is not taking this opportunity to be of new beginnings to be more transparent on the proposed contract. And I'm asking for the city attorney, Wes Duncan, who I believe is one of the most transparent elected officials in Sparks, to please disclose what the total compensation will be. That includes base salary plus what all the benefits will come up to. I realize the deferred income is a variable, but what is the cap amount? Also, why is the proposed contract not posted on the backup materials? With the example of the school district and the superintendent's employment contracts that seem to be always written in a way that allows them a big payoff for leaving early, how can the taxpayers of Sparks be assured that this isn't the case with this contract? We want a contract that's fair not only to Mr. Lotham, but also to the taxpayers. So please, before your vote, disclose to the taxpayers what their investment is in totality.
Okay, anyone else in the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais. And I'm looking for approval of the agenda. Mr. Anderson.
Yes, sir. I move to approve the agenda with the following change, and that is to move item 9.8 to be heard before 7.1, please.
Okay. Got a motion? Looking for a second. Mr. Abbott?
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Thank you, Christopher. Motion carries unanimously. All right, approval of the minutes for the Sparks City Council meeting of April 8th, 2024. Looking for a motion. Any additions, corrections? Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve the minutes of the Sparks City Council meeting for April 8th, 2024.
Ms. Bybee.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Thanks, Chris. Motion carries unanimously. All right, let's move on to 9.8. It's consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a 3-year employment agreement, AC 6047, between the City of Sparks and Dion Lotham as the city manager with an annual salary of $285,600 plus benefits. Allison.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and City Council members. For the record, I'm Allison McCormick, your Assistant City Manager. I am thrilled to be before you today, asking you to approve an employment contract with Dion Lotham as your City Manager. In November of 2023, the City Council selected Bob Murray and Associates, an executive search firm, to find the next Sparks City Manager. At the end of March of 2024, after an extensive recruiting, vetting, and interview process, City Council selected Mr. Lotham as your next city manager. City Council also directed Acting City Manager Crawforth and City Attorney Duncan to negotiate an employment contract with Mr. Lotham. And I am pleased to present that proposed employment contract to you today. Key terms include an annual salary of $285,600 through June 30th of 2025, with cost of living adjustments possible after that. The contract also provides roughly a 3-year contract term starting June 3rd, 2024 and expiring June 30th of 2027. The contract provides for personal, annual, and sick leave allowances, group health insurance, and the possibility for pay increases and bonus pay based on City Council's annual performance evaluation. There was a question during public comment about the total cost of this contract. For fiscal year 2025, that total cost would be $445,585, so roughly $160,000 in benefits in fiscal year 25, in addition to that annual salary. With that, I am happy to answer any questions, and staff is recommending approval of this contract.
Any questions from the council? Okay. I don't have any questions. I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Bybee.
I move to approve the 3-year employment agreement, AC 6047, between the City of Sparks and Dion Lotham as the city manager with an annual salary of $285,600 per year plus benefits.
Mr. Anderson.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
And we're gonna lose Christopher now. Thank you. All right, thanks, Chris. Okay, let's move on to proclamations 7.1, International Firefighters. Phantom of the Opera. International Firefighters Day. Is there somebody here? Walt, are you gonna come down? Is there anybody from the fire department here that would like to accept this? I'll bring them all down. Come on down, guys. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you all for being here. Whereas firefighters dedicate their lives to the protection of life and property and risk the ultimate sacrifice of a firefighter's life. And whereas International Firefighters Day is an opportunity for the City of Sparks to recognize and honor the sacrifices that firefighters make to ensure that their communities and environment are as safe as possible, and on a day in which current and past firefighters can be thanked for their contributions. And whereas International Firefighters Day is observed each year in May to remember past firefighters who have died while serving their community and thank those who have dedicated their lives in protecting our safety. And whereas we show our support and appreciation to the firefighters who continue to protect public safety well throughout the year. And whereas firefighters come from all walks of life, and they are mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandparents, neighbors, and friends. And whereas in our time of need, firefighters are there with courage and compassion. And whereas on International Firefighters Day, we recognize firefighters for their extraordinary commitment, exceptional bravery, and essential service to the community. Now therefore, Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, Nevada, do hereby proclaim May 4th, 2024 as International Firefighters Day.
Walt, do you and Kevin want to say anything before we take your pictures? Or Pat? You gonna let them speak for you, Pat?
Yeah. Walt White, Fire Chief, City of Sparks. I just want to say thanks. We're honored and humbled to serve in these positions. We take the job seriously, and we are truly grateful for the recognition today.
Hey, Kevin Jacobus. I would just like everybody to know I'm truly humbled to serve as a firefighter for the City of Sparks. There's two kind of portions of that. One is to be able to serve the community and be one of the guys that gets to ride on the engine when our public calls. That's huge for me. The other part of it is serving with my brothers and sisters over there, and along with law enforcement. It's just great to be a member of this community and part of the team.
Okay, thank you very much. Got anything from the council? Okay.
I like how they got by the lawyer.
Yep. You need a step stool, Pat? There we go.
Progosh, you can sit on my iPad, it's fine. Yeah, we'll just step on that. Yeah, no big deal.
Can you go that way a little bit? I don't want to get that in there, and you're totally out of the picture. You guys step forward. You guys are gonna come down on this step down here. So you guys come forward. Come here.
This is quite a production.
There we go. Okay. There we go. That's better. Thank you.
Jeff could be seen in the back.
And then I'm gonna switch you guys right here. I can see you. You're gonna go right there. You're gonna come. That I won't get y'all. Yep.
There's only three of them on this bench. Three guys.
There we go. Perfect. Oh, there you go. Okay. Thank you.
This is a Chinese fire drill. Don't run away too far, guys. We got another proclamation. Okay, 7.2 is National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Service Day.
So this one is not as fun to read, but we're going to go ahead and take care of this. Whereas the United States Congress and President of the United States have designated the day of the annual National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Service as a day to honor firefighters and emergency service personnel who have sacrificed their lives to save others by lowering the American flag on all federal buildings to half-staff. And whereas on average of 80 firefighters courageously make the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty each year, and whereas firefighters and emergency services personnel play an essential role in the protection of lives and property in the local community. And whereas the National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Day marks a weekend following International Firefighters Day 2024. And whereas it is essential to increase efforts to reduce deaths, injuries, and property losses from the fire. And whereas National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Day provides citizens of the city of Sparks to remember all fire and emergency personnel who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community, and to pay respect to the survivors of these fallen heroes by participating in Bells Across America for fallen firefighters, by tolling a bell, pausing for a moment of silence, or reading a special passage to honor the sacrifices of these public servants and their families. Whereas National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Day reminds citizens of the city of Sparks to honor fire and emergency services personnel, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to duties have rendered invaluable services to the community and its citizens. Now therefore, Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, do hereby proclaim May 5th, 2024 as National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Day in Sparks, Nevada, in recognition of the patriotic services and dedicated efforts of fire and emergency services personnel. And I encourage appropriate services and ceremonies in which all persons may participate to honor fire and emergency services personnel, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to duties have rendered invaluable service to our community and its citizens.
Anything else to add, Chief?
Walt White, Fire Chief, City of Sparks. Once again, I just want to say that we're humbled and honored by these recognitions today, and that I want to thank each and every one of you that made the time last year to come out as we added the names of both Rick Feldman and Mike Foster to our local memorial, and those of you that made the time to visit our state memorial in Carson City. It truly does mean the world to us, and we are grateful, so thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thanks for everything you do. And thank you to you guys. Couldn't do it without you. We'll take a recess.
Same spot. Especially the smaller members of the position.
Okay, thank you, guys. All right, let's move on to Arbor Day. Mr. Abbott, do you have Arbor Day?
That's me.
That's you.
Perfect.
Cool. We'll start with Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and Arbor Day was first observed with a planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas tree reduces erosion of precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values and enhance the economic vitality of business areas, beautify our community, and are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas the city of Sparks is recognized as a Tree City, USA by National Arbor Day Foundation, now therefore, on behalf of Mayor Ed Lawson, the Mayor of the City of Sparks, do hereby proclaim April 26, 2024 as Arbor Day and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands.
Brandon Miles, Parks Development Coordinator. I just want to say thank you. I think it's important. I think it's commendable that Sparks recognizes Arbor Day and the importance of trees in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Martini, do you want to speak about a program we have coming up?
I was thinking the same thing.
I think it's important to know, just for everybody to get on record.
On the 26th?
Yes, sir?
Yes, we will be planting a tree at Green Bray Elementary School at 10:30 in the morning, and I understand Jesse Hahn will be leading the festivities again this year.
And we also have the program with Greenhouse?
We are, do you mean with Moana, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, excuse me.
Thank you.
Got the wrong.
We are working on a program currently with our partners at Moana Nursery for a potential Sparks Relief program this summer and going into the fall. We are hopeful that we'll be able to secure 300 trees at a very low cost to Sparks residents to get more trees in our city.
Along those lines, we're looking to partner up to make more trees in Sparks. So awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have to remind people we're just moving the trees at Sparks?
Right. Right. Okay. This wasn't on purpose, but the next proclamation is Older Americans Month. Ms. Bybee?
And I'm very happy to present this as the oldest member of this city council, even though you might not guess I am. I am. The mayor handed it right to me, and I was so glad to have our senior citizen members from our committee and from our community here to acknowledge Older Americans Month. Whereas the city of Sparks includes a growing number of older Americans who have built resilience and strength over their lives through successes and difficulties, and whereas the city of Sparks benefits when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds are included and encouraged to share their successes and stories of resilience, and whereas the city of Sparks recognizes the need to nurture ourselves, reinforce our strength, and continue to thrive in times of both joy and difficulty, and whereas the city of Sparks can foster communities of strength by creating opportunities to share stories and learn from each other, engaging older adults through education, recreation, and service, and encouraging people of all ages to celebrate connections and resilience. And whereas the 2024 theme for Older Americans Month is Powered by Connection, which recognizes the profound impact that meaningful relationships and social connections have on our health and well-being.
Therefore, on behalf of Mayor Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, we hereby proclaim May 2024 as Older Americans Month and urge every resident to recognize older adults and the people who support them as essential contributors to the strength of our community.
Andrea Beldo, for the record. Thank you very much for the proclamation. Unfortunately, our booklet isn't out yet, but I'll make sure everyone gets a booklet once it comes out. We have some really different and exciting events this year, and we hope to see you participate as much as you guys have time for. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Andrea. Yep, go ahead.
I was just gonna put the plug in, it should be on everyone's calendar up here, and then everyone hopefully in the community. The Older Americans Info Fairs will be kick off on May 1st at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. over the 9th Street Senior Center. So you can get a booklet then if you don't already have one. And there's, I don't know how many events we have, but probably 50, 60, 70. There's stuff every week that's recurring, and we did a really good, when I said we, the seniors of our amazing community did a great job of making sure to plan everything so you don't have to pick and choose on one day, which that was a problem one year. So applaud you guys for all your hard work there.
I want to thank you. I believe that out of all the citizen committees that we have in the city of Sparks, yours is probably the most active, the most dynamic, and I just want to say awesome. You guys are doing a wonderful job, and keep up the good work. You're making a difference in the community.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. It's time for your photo op.
Marcy, Kyle, you're on the board. No? Rosemary. Sorry, Rosemary. Okay. I'm trying.
All right, 7.5 is the 55th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week. And I have that one, Ms. Torres. Whereas the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world and is the oldest among public servants. And whereas municipal clerks provide a professional link between citizens, the city council, and agencies of government at all levels. And whereas a profession that was once mostly clerical has developed into a technical position that includes records and information management, public meeting management, system administration, elections, my mouth's not working well today, mentoring and training. And whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality, impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administrative and technical functions of their office through participation in education programs, networking with peers, mentoring and collaborating with state and federal professional organizations, and whereas it's most appropriate to recognize the contributions and accomplishments of the Office of Professional Municipal Clerks during the 55th anniversary celebration. Now therefore, I, Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, Nevada, do hereby proclaim May 5th through 11th, 2024 as 55th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week.
Thank you, Mayor Lawson, members of council, Lisa Hunterman, your city clerk. For the record, 55 years celebrating municipal clerks is actually pretty cool. Your city clerk's office serves as a central point of contact for citizens, elected officials, and other government agencies, as well as employees within the city, and plays a crucial role in promoting transparency, democracy, and effective governance at a local level. I want to express my gratitude to the mayor and city council for this proclamation. And I would also like to thank everyone in the city clerk's office for the essential role they play in ensuring the smooth operation of local government and serving our community. Today, I have with me the Chief Deputy City Clerk, Julie Torres. We also have the Deputy City Clerk, Leanne King, and Deputy City Clerk, Nick Joyce. Each is truly amazing, and our office could not function and would not be successful without them. So thank you again for recognizing our dedication and hard work and for honoring Municipal Clerks Week.
Do you, any questions from the council?
I think Julie.
Do you have anything, Julie?
Thank you very much for.
I'm gonna say you're
recognizing.
speechless. That would be a
First time
first.
ever.
Yes.
That can't be true.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for what you guys do.
I just want to add my thanks for the work you do. And I know recently, in the last couple of years especially, I've been here 9 years, and I look at the amount of work you do and things that when I got elected, I had no idea and realized how important the records are, public records requests, meetings. I mean, everything you do is critical to what we do, and appreciate that and appreciate the even when your workload is pretty high, your attitudes are great. You get the work done. I think we have one of the most efficient of all. I'm just going to say we are the most efficient of any local municipality or jurisdiction. So thank you. I appreciate all your hard work.
Anyone else? We good? Let's go to 7.6, Certificate of Appreciation for Home Depot Foundation. Ms. Vanderwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I can do 7.6 and 7.7 together, please.
Yes, ma'am.
So I know there's representatives from Home Depot Foundation and also Rebuilding Northern Nevada. First of all, the Certificate of Appreciation for Home Depot Foundation. I want to thank you for coming in and volunteering in the city of Sparks with the Rebuilding Together Day that we had on April 3rd. And then I have a proclamation for Rebuilding Together. Please ignore the date. So Rebuilding Together Northern Nevada is hosting National Rebuilding Day on Saturday, April 27th, 2024. And whereas the mission of Rebuilding Together Northern Nevada is to revitalize neighborhoods by providing safe and healthy homes for the most vulnerable populations, including seniors, veterans, people with disabilities, and families with young children. And whereas collectively, the affiliates of Rebuilding Together, a national nonprofit organization, complete 10,000 projects annually at no cost to homeowners, thanks to the help of generous funding and more than 100,000 volunteers. And whereas making physical improvements to homes from the basic to major home rehabilitations, accessibility modifications, and energy-efficient upgrades can be the start of a positive chain reaction that develops into permanent, sustainable change, improving health, the environment, and housing. And whereas Rebuilding Together builds partnerships with Nevada's businesses, government, and philanthropic communities to assist low to moderate income homeowners so they can continue to live in the comfort and safety of their own homes. Now, therefore, I, Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, Nevada, do hereby proclaim Saturday, April 27th, 2024, as National Rebuilding Day.
Can you turn your light on, please? Gotta push it until it turns green. There we go.
So,
For the record, Deanna Madrigal. I am the Team Depot Foundation organizer for our community, so I love going out into the community and helping out. So thank you guys so much for recognizing our effort of reaching out and helping our community grow wherever we can. So thank you.
Good afternoon. For the record, Meg Shea, Executive Director for Rebuilding Together Northern Nevada. I'm humbled to be able to serve at the helm of this organization and to work alongside wonderful organizations and teams such as with the Home Depot Foundation. We couldn't do our work without these partnerships and then without these communities and all of you leaders. So again, thank you very much.
Meg, can you please share Mr. Goyer's story from this year's on April 3rd?
Sure. So Mr. Goyer is 92 years young, living in his home. He does have the support of a daughter who comes over as well as a caregiver that comes into the home, but he is living in his own home, which is one of our core tenets, is having people age in place safely. And so he had an ingress-egress issue at his front door, also around safety, being able to, have good visibility. So the Home Depot teams across several stores came in, and they not only made the property appealing for, the homeowner and all the neighbors there, but really made a lot of safety changes for him, put storm doors at the front and the back, and made it so he could, because he has a walker, so that he could get out on his front step, get some sunshine. His backyard is clean. There's some planter boxes. Being able to take a large planter that was actually intrusive into his roof line and be able to secure that and really make a difference so that when next winter comes along, he's not getting water intrusion and some of those things. So we really feel like, being able to partner with Home Depot, and we had 35 volunteers, and they show up, smiles, ready to go, and don't leave until the job's done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're up to 7.8, the presentation of the 2050 Regional Transportation Plan. Good afternoon, Mr. Thomas.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and council members. For the record, Bill Thomas, Executive Director of RTC Washoe. Also with me today is Dale Keller, the Deputy Executive Director. Dale's actually going to be doing the presentation on what is perhaps one of our most important efforts we do at RTC every 5 years, which is the Regional Transportation Plan, driving all of our infrastructure in the roadway network at the regional level. I did want to ask procedurally if you would like us to also do 9.7, which is the memorandum of understanding, or would you like us to come back for that one?
You have that in your presentation?
We do.
Okay, let's just go ahead. We'll move 9.7 up.
Great.
After your,
Sorry, I'm watching this.
what?
I think the agenda.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to make a motion to move it up. Why don't we do the presentation?
Yep.
Okay.
Finish that, make a motion to move that up.
Okay.
Thank you for accommodating us.
All right, so good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members. Dale Keller, Deputy Executive Director at the RTC. So Bill and I are here really to talk about the future of transportation for our region. And every 5 years, the RTC leads this effort with our agency partners to create a roadmap in the transportation framework to what the next 20 years will look like. And this has been commonly referred as to our regional transportation plan. And so the purpose of today's presentation is to inform the City of Sparks of the RTP process, as well as convey how our team is engaging the public, our partner agencies, both on the elected leaders and staff, the inter-county stakeholders, as well as our RTC board. And our commitment is to engage early and often. So the RTC is designated by state legislature as the Metropolitan Planning Organization, or MPO, as required by federal laws for transportation funding for Washoe County. We are the transportation policy-making organization, made up of one representative from City of Sparks, who is Mayor Lawson. He's acting as our chair, 2 from City of Reno, and 2 from Washoe County. The RTC is also responsible for managing transportation revenue, as well as providing regional transit service. As I stated, the Regional Transportation Plan, or RTP, is our roadmap for the future. The purpose of the RTP is to outline the transportation projects, the programs, and the service provided through our out year of 2050 by capturing the community's vision for the transportation system. And the functions as the major tool for implementing long-range transportation planning as established by this framework for the implementation plan to achieve this vision. So the RTP is updated every 5 years to align with the current conditions and what are the community priorities. We are now embarking on the latest update. The last one was done in 2021. And this is, I like to say, this is a refresh, it's not a rehaul. So the goals and objectives that are set forth in this plan are just being reiterated or looked upon and set forth being from the last edition and reviewed and then reflected with the new and possible new goals. So the timeline outline, or here's the key milestones and phases of the RTP process. We're ensuring transparency and opportunity for the community involvement at every step. So the team kicked off the RTP last fall with the local agency staff, stakeholders, and partners. We are finalizing the collection of the existing condition analysis here this winter, the spring. And currently we are in the public envisioning and goals phase. With a recent release of our public survey that went live. There's also include a geo-based input forum. Later this summer into fall, we'll start looking into the future needs of the region and then present a draft plan with public input here this winter and then possible final adoption by the RTC board next spring. So as we start talking about our goals and our vision, it's good to have some guardrails, and these guiding principles act as our guardrails throughout the process, ensuring that we align with what the RTP's vision is. These guiding principles may be updated on feedback that we'll receive from the public, our partner agencies, and stakeholders. As for goal setting, the purpose of the RTP goals is to provide the direction and focus for regional transportation projects, and then all future either projects or programs have to or need to align with one or more of these 7 goals as shown on the screen. As previously stated, like those guiding principles, they can be updated and adjusted as we go through this process. So here's our list of our RTP stakeholders. And so we're bringing together both local, regional, and state experts and transportation leaders to collaborate of how the community grows and moves around. And so instead of just focusing on roads or transit centers, this agency working group will think about how everything fits together. So from transportation, from land use, from mobility and access, to how do you get to your jobs, your school, to activity centers. This is just how we all have it all to come together. So here's our schedule, and this is more detailed schedule, and this is more focus of our different public involvement. So at the top here is the public. So we're engaging the public in 3 different methods. First off is this virtual public kickoff to share information about the process, and it's on our website at rtcwashoe.com/RTP. This also includes a community survey, which I mentioned is live. And lastly, we're doing some social media engagement to analyze different themes to transportation. Next one down is the RTC board. Last month in March, we had our RTC board retreat, and we actually did a very in-depth dive discussion about the existing transportation needs, what are the identifying major themes that we need to be looking forward to, and provide direction to RTC staff. So we'll continue to provide our board update, and they'll actually help provide staff with direction as we go through this process. Next one down is the agency working group, and as mentioned, that whole group of stakeholders. This group will meet every other month. First is really receive input of where we are with the update. They'll offer solutions related to transportation themes and solutions, and then share input from their represented organizations. So as such, as with the city council and staff-wide, this is a great opportunity to lean on staff to act as your conduit as we provide your thoughts and opinions and feedback through this process. Likewise, we'll talk through associations of partners that we talk about, specialists such as freight, such as active transportation or transit. We'll get the subject matter experts in there, those issue-based forums. And then lastly, as we're here today, seeking input from our elected leaders as well as from the city managers. So this is one way to get involved, and this is one way for Sparks residents to share their input. You can scan this QR code and we'll take you a direct link to the survey. This is the long web address, but once again, you can just go to rtcwashoe.com/RTP and to show you more information about where we are and where we stand. And lastly, like I said, we're committed to being transparent and inclusive throughout this planning process. In order to stay engaged, we encourage you to check out, once again, our website, stay engaged through our social media channels and so forth. And this is one way as we continue to embrace it within the year to make sure that we can capture what the next 20 years will look like. So Mayor, we'll take a break. Maybe we can answer questions about this RTP before we can jump on the second part of the presentation about MVU.
So, Mr. Mayor, I don't think there's a problem with that. Let's have them, if we'll have questions about this, do the presentation for item 9.7. Since the agenda was already approved, we can't take action on that until you get to it. But we'll allow questions on that, and then council will take action on it in due course.
Okay. Questions from the council? Go ahead.
Actually, I just want to say thank you for the work you guys are doing. Not only is it improving the roadways for all of the citizens and businesses, but you guys are making things safer, as you noted there. A lot of the changes that are coming about. And just a little one that I'm reminded every day when I go through the construction zone is over in the industrial areas off of South Stanford. A small section, but you're putting in a sidewalk where there's never been one. So you have heavy truck traffic and such, and then people are walking to and from buses or walking to work or riding bikes, and it's always been far from the safest. So it's just awesome to see the work you guys are doing, and especially in the industrial area where you're starting to add the sidewalks in. So thank you for safety being the primary focus.
Go ahead.
How do you know? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So if people are interested, which I think a lot of us are, and I'm sure can we go to your website to look at, with this plan, that it's a 2050 plan, updated every 5 years, a lot of people, and even electeds, are like, well, what is our time frame for Sparks Boulevard? What about for longer range projects? What about for Vista? What about all of the long-term projects and congestion, which we hear about all the time? And we work diligently with you to at least keep traffic moving. We know there's no doubt there's increased traffic, and as long as I've lived in this city, and people who've lived here a long time complain about it, but I think we do a pretty good job with our signal systems, with timing to keep traffic moving, especially during peak hours. Sparks Boulevard obviously is a huge project. I know Pyramid is NDOT, but to find all of those kind of, when will this RTC project come to my neighborhood or places I'm driving all the time, that there'll be some relief or there'll be some changes? Is that just in the plan found online? Where's the best resource for people to find that info? I know you have it, but how do we get it, and how's it easy to access?
Thank you for the question, Councilmember Bybee. The best resource really is our website, because as you can imagine, our projects, many of them are very large, $30, $50 million projects that take multiple years. And there are so many things that can delay, whether it's right-of-way, materials, supply chain, things like that. So I would suggest everybody should go to the website frequently. We try to keep that updated. Each project's identified, and of course, after you look at that, if you still have questions, you can call our office.
Okay, anyone else? And that's subject to change. Roads are changing continually
That's correct,
in their
yes.
priority as population changes and growth patterns change. All right, you want to give us a presentation on 9.7? We won't act on it, but we will listen to you.
Correct. So this is good part B, and sticking with the agenda item, talk about the future of transportation and the RTP. So one of the things we are actively moving forward and with participation with city staff is regarding intelligent transportation systems, or what we issue as ITS. So how do we maximize, before we have to widen a roadway, what can we do to get the most out of our roadway system? So with me today is Mr. Alex Wolfson. He's one of our traffic engineers and project manager. He's going to briefly touch and outline what's in this memorandum of understanding. And then also understanding city staff is going to provide a brief presentation to follow that and as part of 9.7. So Alex, I'll turn over to you.
All right, can everyone hear me? Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. For the record, my name is Alex Wolfson. I am a project manager with the RTC, and I'm pleased to be here to chat a little bit about the ITS Strategic Master Plan and the Memorandum of Understanding that's going to go with it. So here's kind of the purpose of this document. So currently, I think we do a good job of managing our roads, as was mentioned. I think our coordinating signal timings are pretty good. So right now, we have reactive operations. When we're aware of an issue on our roads, especially when it comes to the operation moving traffic, we take care of it. It's not always proactive, but at least we get it going. In addition, we have separate networks. City of Reno operates their own traffic signal and ITS network. City of Sparks has their own. RTC, we have a little bit of our own stuff going on. And so there's these different networks, so it's not always the most efficient. In addition, inconsistent standards when it comes to this infrastructure. City of Reno has certain ways they like to do it, same with Sparks, same with RTC. NDOT's got their own set of standards. And so what we really wanted to do through this program was take the things that we're doing well and take them to the next step. So for example, when it comes to our operations, active and proactive operations. One of the big ones for me is you get a crash on the freeway and everybody starts to divert to the side streets. The traffic signals don't automatically adjust themselves to compensate for that increased traffic. There are ways we can do that, and that's one of the big things we want to get out of this plan is to have a more actively managed arterial network. The other part, consolidated networks, that's pretty simple. It'd be nice to just have one network for all 425 of our traffic signals and other ITS infrastructure. Unified standards, same things. It would be nice if we had the same level playing field for all of our infrastructures so we could better understand what's out in the field and what infrastructure should be replaced and upgraded first. So here's a scenario. I think this is a really good example when it comes to the active transportation part. So while Dale's getting that up, so I'm sure everybody's aware of the construction going on 395 north of the Spaghetti Bowl heading up to the North Valleys. It's a significant project. It's going to make some important changes, but in the meantime, there's a lot of pain associated with that. What's normally 3 lanes is down to 2.
And I'm sorry, there was a YouTube video that we were going to show.
She said you were going to pull it up on the internet.
Okay. We're all good. No YouTube videos. So we can use your imagination and envision. I think it doesn't take long, and I think for all Sparks residents who use Pyramid Highway is another good example how congestion or a single crash happens that creates a significant backlog through that process.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so this example, if there were YouTube videos, you would basically see this, due to this construction on the freeway, especially during the evening commute, people start seeking alternate routes, specifically North Virginia Street. As a result, North Virginia Street became more congested than it's probably ever been on a daily basis. And not shockingly, we started getting a lot of concerns about the timing. And so through our agreement with UNR, who helps us with signal timing, we went out there and actually had them retime that corridor. And while there's still congestion during the PM commute, it's improved quite a bit. We went from a 3 to 4 hour batch of congestion that was occurring with travel delays, I'm going to just say up to 15 minutes. We got that down to more like an hour of peak congestion with a travel delay of more like 11, 12 minutes. And so it's not a huge amount, but at least it became tolerable for those needing to go that direction. So I don't know if that's going to work. Okay, yes, you can actually see here. So this one's working. So you'll see the congestion forming kind of in the middle there. Watch near the top left of the screen. You'll see North Virginia Street become very congested due to this. 4 o'clock. This was really early on, so Virginia Street's gonna actually make it all the way down to McCarran Boulevard there. It's a lot slower than I remember this being. So you can see it's very congested. This is now, I think, closing in on 7 o'clock, and it still hasn't cleared the congestion. So we still have some congestion on Virginia Street. The freeway's actually kind of clearing up at this point. Eventually by 8 o'clock, most of it's back to normal. So this was kind of the before and after on our signal timing effort here. So you'll see before, which will be, because this is kind of a blown up version of what you already saw, but you'll just see congestion starts much earlier. On the right side, it's still hanging in there with the retiming. Left side is just brutal. Right side starting to get some more congestion. So like I said, there is that hour of peak congestion that still occurs, but it's not quite as severe and doesn't last as long. 7 o'clock, after the retiming, it's already good. Before the timing, takes longer. So question is, why did I talk about that? So wouldn't it be nice if, going back to the active transportation, that whole effort took 2 weeks to get us to the new timing. It was a lot of trial and error. As part of this, we want to be able to actively manage it. And maybe what took 2 weeks could take 2 days, especially if it's being done from one place. And so I'll talk a little bit more how we plan to do that. So this MOU we're talking about, so this kind of goes into all the details. And this actually is a great sort of overview of the recommendations that we're considering out of this report. And so the first one is basically going to be the decision making. It's not just RTC making this decision, it's all the agencies that need to make this decision collaboratively. So decision making, plan and implement S&P recommendations, establish an oversight committee that'll be made up of at least one representative from each agency, and then measure performance of the S&P recommendations. So I want to talk about that really quick again. So going back to our signal retiming effort, I got a document here. This was actually presented last Friday at our RTC board meeting. Sparks Boulevard between Gregg Street and Los Altos was retimed in the last year or so. And UNR, as part of their measuring the performance, looked at the travel time savings that occurred before and after, and some of the things that go into it: fuel consumption, less vehicle maintenance, and basically found through that retiming effort that we see a benefit to the community, society, of $1.392 million. And that's just one road. Granted, it's a busy road, a long stretch of road, but these kind of improvements can really provide a positive benefit to the community, and we need to measure that performance and communicate it. Focus area number 2, operations. So this is basically operate the regional traffic signal and ITS network as one consolidated entity. And what that really means, I think the most critical part of this, and I would say it's kind of the crown jewel of this plan, is to establish, operate, and support a regional traffic management center, aka TMC. So going back to my Virginia Street example, if we actually had a center where we could have technicians with video screens and remote access to the signals monitoring it as it happened, they could have done that operation much more efficiently. Instead of having one UNR student stand out per intersection, you could have one person look at all the intersections. NDOT currently has one that focuses on the freeways. They have a road operations center. They do a good job in freeway operations, but going back to my example of what happens when they get off the freeway, we don't have an active arterial management system, and we want to create that through this program. Focus area number 3, maintenance. So establish and support a regionally consolidated ITS and traffic signal maintenance program. Reno maintains their signals. They also maintain Washington County signals through an agreement and NDOT ones. City of Sparks maintains their own signals and the NDOT signals located in City of Sparks right of way. There's a lot of value if we could actually make this one consolidated program, and instead of worrying about the jurisdictional boundaries of our signals, just look at the 425 signals we have and just establish which ones need to be worked on the most and need those kind of upgrades. It could lead to a lot of cost savings for the region if done correctly. As part of that, we'd have to determine management, oversight, support, and maintenance responsibilities, which is going to be tough. I think we've done maintenance well previously, and changing it's going to be tough, but I think we can make it better. Last one, standards. Develop, adopt regional ITS and traffic signal design standards and specifications. It'd be a really good thing for not just each individual agency, but the partners like NDOT, if we were all on the same page when it came to this infrastructure. In addition, we need to establish, operate, and support a regional traffic signal and ITS asset management program. Just because X amount of signals may be in one jurisdiction doesn't necessarily mean we need to spend that X percentage of money. We need to focus on which infrastructure is in the most need of upgrades first. So with that said, here's kind of what's next. So last Friday, we presented this MOU. The RTC board was approved. Today, we're at City of Sparks. Wednesday will be City of Reno, and June 30th will be the final S&P document. as you might notice, we put this together before we knew when we were doing Washoe County. That'll actually be May 1st, I believe. So with that, we're happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the council? Anybody? I'm pretty excited about this. We had a presentation Friday from Dr. T and from UNR, and Orange County, what did they say? $20 million a year they spend on their traffic timing, and they still stop every 2 red lights, or every green light they stop at 2. Right now, with just what UNR has done for us, we're at 4. So you go 4 green lights before you hit a red light. And we're not spending anywhere close to that kind of money for our program. And they've been doing theirs for 3 or 4 years at this point. So they're in almost $100 million, and that hasn't made much improvement. It's exciting to see this. It's exciting to finally something that makes sense regionally to me. If we can save $1.5 million on that stretch of road on Sparks Boulevard of fuel savings and maintenance on your vehicle savings and time savings and all the things that go into that, I think it makes our community much easier to get around and safer. If you're not stopping at every red light, you're going to be safer. So I'm appreciative of what you guys are doing. I'm wholeheartedly in favor of this, even though I don't get a vote on it. I'm super supportive, and I think we're going to make a trip to Vegas and go see how they do theirs, and so we can make some good decisions as a region going forward. Okay, anyone else? We're not going to vote now, so we'll do it later. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. All right. 7.9, presentation Reno Housing Authority and City of Sparks Rental Assisted Program Performance.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and members of council. For the record, my name is Jamie Neufeld, and I'm the Director of Rental Assistance for the Reno Housing Authority. I am before you today to present on the performance of the City of Sparks' emergency rental assistance programs, which are administered by the Reno Housing Authority. Through Assembly Bill 396, the City of Sparks was awarded $1.5 million in funding for fiscal year 23-24, with an additional $1.5 million anticipated in fiscal year 24-25 for the purpose of providing rental assistance to Sparks residents to prevent evictions in households that are persons who are elderly, persons with disabilities, families, and persons facing an unanticipated emergency. To meet the needs of the community, 2 rental assistance programs are offered. The Eviction Prevention Program, which provides households facing eviction due to an emergency or hardship with up to 3 months of assistance toward rental arrears, late fees, and future rent to help the household stabilize. And the Short-Term Senior Rental Assistance Program, which provides senior households who are struggling to pay their rent due to financial hardship or rent increases with up to 6 months of assistance in the amount of $500 per month in order to allow the household time to find a more affordable unit. The City of Sparks partnered with the RHA to administer these emergency rental assistance funds due to our extensive experience administering rental assistance programs for the community. RHA has worked hard to effectively administer these programs in partnership with the city. To ensure the funds could reach the community quickly, RHA hired dedicated staff and instituted special weekly check runs to minimize the time between the file being approved and the landlord receiving payment. City staff conducted the initial interview with the client and forwarded the completed application to RHA along with all available documentation. RHA staff then reviewed the application and documentation to ensure compliance with program guidelines, requesting additional documentation from the client when needed. RHA staff also worked with the landlords to obtain leases and documentation of balances owed. Once the file was complete, an RHA supervisor would review the file and certify its program compliance, providing the notification of approval to both the client and landlord, as well as the request for payment to RHA's finance department. The check would then go out on the next weekly check run. On average, this entire process was completed in just under 20 days. As part of our contract, the city and RHA agreed that 50% of the FY 23-24 funds would be expended by February 28, 2024. As of that date, RHA had expended 78.6% of program funds. As you can see from the graph, both teams were ready to hit the ground running when the funding came through in October 2023. At that time, no one knew how long it would take to process the applications, how many would result in approvals, and how much assistance would be paid for each household, and both teams wanted to ensure full utilization of program funding to maximize the benefit to the community. Once we were able to analyze our success rate and average assistance paid, we began to project that the funding would not last through the end of the fiscal year. City staff adjusted the number of application interviews they conducted each month, which is why you see the declining application rate and not due to a decrease in community need. This simultaneously balanced prolonging the availability of funding and allowing those staff to more efficiently use their time. Of our 323 total applications, 281 have been approved, 36 denied, and 6 were still pending. I should say this is as of the date this data was pulled, approximately 1 week ago. Within those 36 denials, 9 were for failing to provide information, 8 failed to demonstrate a hardship, 7 were over 80% of the area median income, 4 were not residents of Sparks, and 8 were for miscellaneous other reasons. The average household size was 2.7 people. 154 households had children, 83 were single-member households, and 32 households across both programs were classified as seniors. The average assistance paid to each household was $4,612. As you can see by the graph, more than half of our applications, 51.1% specifically, were from households making from 0 to 30% of the area median income. Approximately 1/4 of households were making between 31 to 50% of the area median income. Just over 20% of households were making between 51 to 80% of the area median income, and approximately 2% of households were making over 80% of the area median income, making them ineligible for assistance. To date, more than 90% of program funds have been expended, with 87% being spent on the eviction prevention program, 1% being spent on the short-term senior rental assistance program, and 4% covering administrative fees such as staff salaries. Although $113,611 is currently unspent, 6 applications are currently pending and additional applications are being accepted, with projections showing only 19 total applications could be approved under the remaining funding. Pending any questions, I thank you for your time.
Questions from the council? Donald?
So there was a remaining balance, I think, of, I forgot how much it was, like almost 250,000 roughly,
Oh, I'm sorry?
right? Because wasn't it as of like February 28th, there was
Yes.
78.6, so I'm assuming we'll hit 100% by the June 30th?
We will absolutely hit 100%. So as of the date this data was pulled, which was just over a week ago, we actually only had 113,611 unspent. And when I pulled just some updated figures over the weekend, we were down to 86,000 remaining to be spent. And speaking to city staff earlier, it looks like they've accepted enough applications that should fill out the rest of the spending. So
Thank you.
very close.
Good to know.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Ivy.
So on that, we have a second, the second half of the funds, and are those effective July 1st? And if people, are you closing applications now because this fiscal year money is already spent? Or do you have, if you have applications in and they're accepted, can they be on pause waiting for the new funding to kick in? Or someone who might be listening that is curious, you know, if they haven't put it in, kind of what is the timeline? Do they have to wait until July 1st to apply, or can they be in your process right now? We're just waiting for the additional funds.
Yeah, Casey Chavla for the record. So based off of one of these programs being eviction prevention, it may not be as useful to have applicants come in right now. It may be better used when we get the funding in July 1. Otherwise, they may be waiting for an extended period of time. So we are closing off applications right now, and we'll be accepting them again on July 1.
On July 1, okay. So even with the senior assistance, I get it with eviction, that makes sense. If they're getting evicted now, it doesn't help because there's not money there to help with eviction. They'd have to look at other local programs for that. But is funding available Or can people put in, you want all of it to come in July 1st? You don't want the senior assistants to be put in earlier?
Mayor Jim Rundle, City Planner, through you, Mayor. Councilmember Bybee, a question fully makes sense, and for the council to know, staff is working with Julie Duell to get a message out to the public about the issue that you're bringing to us right now. The staff met with our public outreach coordinator. I'm sorry, I can't remember Julie's title right now, but our PIO for shorthand, to get that message out to the public. You have an item on your agenda later today to accept the funding for next year. So really, we couldn't say exactly what we're going to do for next year until we get that direction from the city council later in today's meeting. But I do anticipate we wouldn't take applications until we receive the funding, which wouldn't be until after July 1st.
Okay.
Because the funding is not with us right now.
Can we, I would guess because we're all connected to other resources, is there when people would reach out looking for, and this money has already been spent until we start the new funding in July, are we able to direct people to other resources and other organizations that are doing eviction prevention, rental assistance? Do we provide that information or direction for people so that they know where to go?
I know when contact is made with the Housing Authority directly, we do provide any resources like that we have specific to their needs. So if their concern is eviction prevention, if it is not a program that we are operating or administering at that time, we provide them other community resources. And I would anticipate that city staff does the same as well.
Yes, council member, we did that before we had rental assistance. We directed them to other organizations in our community that help our community with rental assistance. When we didn't have the money, when we weren't expecting it, as you all know, it surprised us when we got that money. But prior to that, our team was directing that to resources that we were aware of. Yes.
Okay, anyone else? I think it bears noting too, it says Reno Housing Authority. Truly, you are a regional housing authority because you do work in Sparks and you have homes in Sparks that you guys work with. So
absolutely,
one day we'll go to the legislature and fix that so that everybody doesn't think it's just Reno, that it actually includes the entire county. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor Lawson.
All right. We good on that one? All right, let's move on to consent items. Anyone wishing to pull a consent item? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
Move to approve consent items 8.1 through 8.3 as submitted.
Okay. Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously with those here. Okay, 9.1, consideration discussion of possible renewal of a contract AC 6043 between the City of Sparks and Reno Housing Authority in the amount not to exceed $1,455,000 for fiscal year 24-25, including the amendments outlined in Exhibit 1 to administer residential rental assistance to the City of Sparks.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. I'm Casey Chavla, an Administrative Analyst with your Community Services Department. On August 28th, the Sparks City Council approved a contract with the Reno Housing Authority to aid in the processing of rental assistance applications. The council approved this contract for a single year with the option to renew at the end of FY 23-24, which is why I'm before you today. As Jamie stated, the Sparks rental assistance programs were initiated when the state of Nevada awarded the city $3 million to be split into 1.5 for FY 23-24 and 1.5 for FY 24-25. These funds were allocated or awarded specifically for rental assistance. I won't go into too many details on this year's program performance as you just received a presentation on that, but staff did create this map to demonstrate how these programs truly benefited households across the entire city. Sparks staff began accepting applications on October 2nd of 2023. And since then, with the assistance of the Reno Housing Authority and to date, we have assisted with processing applications for 335 households and have allocated over $1.3 million in funding to keep residents in their homes. Moving on to the specifics of the contract, or the proposed contract renewal for the Reno Housing Authority had the above contract terms, including monthly reporting on the cases processed and expenditures, which they have submitted promptly. They have reached the February 28th deadline of having at least 50% of the funds expended, and we are on track to have all of our funding incurred by the end of this month. Additionally, the contract required that the Housing Authority provide a presentation on the program's performance, which was satisfied by item 7.9. If this City Council decides to renew the contract with the Reno Housing Authority, the terms would primarily remain the same, with an up to 10% admin fee for the Housing Authority, required monthly reporting, a deadline of December 31st, 2024 to have at least 50% of the funds expended, and a deadline of June 30th, 2025 to have all funds expended or incurred. Staff will be monitoring expenditures on a monthly basis throughout the term of the contract, and will be ensuring that we're on track to meet that June 30th deadline. If we're not, the Sparks staff, Sparks may reallocate any unspent funds at any time, and the up to language for that admin fee allows staff the flexibility to move any funds that were originally set aside for admin costs back to rental assistance if they were unspent. In addition to renewing the contract with the Reno Housing Authority, staff is proposing a few adjustments to the programs based off of the knowledge that we've gained over the last 7 months. First would be to reduce the income limit from 80% of the area median income to 60% of the area median income. This would, for example, reduce the income limit for a 4-person household from $80,950 annually to $60,720 annually. This adjustment will allow for the programs to better target households with the greatest possible need, and will allow us to match similar programs that are occurring within Washoe County in the city of Reno. Secondarily, Spark staff is proposing to increase the assistance amount for the senior short-term rental assistance from $500 per month to $750 per month for an up to 6-month term. The current assistance amount of $500 per month for the 6 months left our seniors with a total assistance amount of $3,000, whereas the average payment for the eviction prevention was about $4,600. The substantial difference in the assistance amount from both of these programs led many of our seniors to apply for eviction prevention rather than the senior short-term program, and this proposed change will better make those averages match and provide a more targeted support for our seniors. Some additional proposed changes include some changes to the policies manual, including defining what a hardship would be for each of these programs, including the Section 8 income guidelines published by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, and defining the appeal process. These proposed changes will ensure consistency in the processing across each staff member, provide clarity to our applicants, and make sure that our policies manual reflects what we're currently asking of our applicants. Based on the effective use of funding in FY 23-24 and the successful completion of all contract requirements by the Reno Housing Authority, staff is recommending to renew the grant program agreement with the RHA and including the proposed modifications to the programs. I've included a motion on the screen, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Questions from the council? So we got an email from Assemblywoman Anderson asking if we could expand this to the county. Can we do that or not, based on the direction by the state?
We could do that if that was the direction you wanted to move forward.
I see Mr. Rundle nodding his head.
Yeah.
Come on down here. And their last numbers of, I think it was 8 people that weren't from Sparks. I'm assuming if they're unincorporated, that'd be similar to the number we're looking at.
Yes, Mayor, the public comment that you're speaking to from Assemblyperson Anderson would identify what you're outlining. Yes, you would include that in your motion if the city council chooses to do that. And I think Based on the context, it was for the Truckee Meadows, so it would be up to the council's discretion on whether you wanted to say for the city of Sparks and the unincorporated areas of Washoe County or all of Washoe County. It would be to the discretion of the council.
Just to put this in context, there were only 3 entities that got this award, and it's Reno, Sparks, and Clark County. So we're one of 3 in the state that have this ability to do this particular program. So for me, I mean, I'll let the council talk about it, but for me, I don't think it would harm us too much if we help out the county also. If it's truly got to be in unincorporated, not in Reno. Okay, Mr. Anderson.
So when we went through this in the first round, I was skeptical that we could actually spend the funds within the city of Sparks, helping out our residents. To my dismay, and I'm glad we had the funds to be able to help them, we're there. So is there any doubt in your mind and Reno Housing Authority going into this next fiscal year that we could allocate, if all those funds were kept here in Sparks, that we could actually utilize all those funds that are allocated?
We still have a strong stream of applicants coming in, looking for some sort of funding that are within the city of Sparks. So I
can't necessarily speak to the stream of applicants because we definitely see them after they have applied, but I would say that I don't have any hesitation that we would be able to. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jamie Neufeld, Director of Rental Assistance, Reno Housing Authority. New here. I would not hesitate to say, since we have in just the 7 months been able to spend the 1.5 million for this fiscal year, say that we would be able to spend the 1.5 over the next fiscal year, just based on what we've been seeing coming in.
And with that being said, I am strong in believing that we need to be members of our community as a whole, but we are also the city of Sparks, and I believe that likewise, these funds were given by the state to the city for our residents. So I'm actually of the opinion that I think we should keep the funds here. And just like it says in the plan, that we have the ability to reallocate if indeed we find out that we don't have enough applicants within the city. Thank you.
Ms. Vanderwell.
I'm fine.
Okay, Ms. Bybee.
This is a tough one for as far as Washoe County, but I would hate to see unincorporated Washoe County, which could be just to the north of us, or could be all the way down in Washoe Valley, could be nowhere near the city of Sparks. I would hate to allocate to the detriment of the residents of the city of Sparks. I feel that's where our obligation lies, and the funding was given to the city of Sparks. So I don't want to not have our residents included. And there are other programs. There's other eviction assistance and our RHA and the community. There are other places as well. I'm hesitant because we're not even through the fiscal year and the money is gone. So a year from now, I envision us being, the need is still there. I loved seeing the map that showed where the assistance was, where there were higher numbers, but all the way up into my ward, that we really spread that out, and then the need is there, and inflation is not helping anybody, so really the need for our residents for me is a top priority, and I don't know that I could support expanding it to unincorporated Washoe County unless they were, at a different tier. If we did have money, left at the end, maybe, but right now I think I want to prioritize the residents of our city.
Donald?
Sorry. I'll second what my colleagues are saying. I think looking that we already went through it in just Sparks alone, that we have a need here, and we are elected by the Sparks residents. And I'm all for looking at our whole community as a whole, but I think there's a need in Sparks we need to focus at.
Okay. Any other discussion then? I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Abbott.
I move to renew the contract AC-6043 between the City of Sparks and the Reno Housing Authority in an amount not to exceed $1,455,000 for fiscal year 2024-2025, including the amendments outlined in Exhibit 1 to administer residential rental assistance in the City of Sparks.
Ms. Bybee.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously with those here. Thank you, ladies. 9.2, consideration, discussion, and possible appointment of a Sparks representative to the Western Regional Water Commission for a 2-year term ending in March 31st, 2026, from the following pool of applicants listed in alphabetical order: Donald Abbott, Paul Anderson, Charlene Bybee, Christopher Dare, and Diane Vanderwell. Mr. Drinkwater.
Afternoon, Mr. Mayor. Michael Drinkwater, Community Services Director on behalf of the City Manager, here to champion this item. As you know, Councilmember Dare currently represents the City of Sparks on the Western Regional Water Commission. His term is coming to an end, and it is to you to appoint or to nominate one of your colleagues or yourself, I imagine, to serve in that capacity. Or
I'm not on the list.
Oh, I'm sorry. You cannot. I apologize.
So I
Or
can't.
renominate Mr. Dare. I will note Mr. Abbott is currently our representative from the Truckee Meadows Water Authority. That alternates between Sparks and Reno every other time. And so in that capacity, Mr. Abbott will be coming off the Western Regional Water Commission soon, which if you were interested in nominating him, he would not hold 2 seats in that case.
Okay. Well, who I'm recommending is Christopher Dare.
I'm representing the Western Regional Water Commission from the JCC.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
You said Tumwa. I just wanted to make sure.
Did I say Tumwa? Tumwa. I meant Tumwa. I apologize, sir.
You're fine.
Everything else is correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, I still am going to say Mr. Dare.
Okay.
So you got any other comments from the council? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
I move to appoint Christopher Dare to the Western Regional Water Commission for a 2-year term ending March 31st, 2026.
And Mr. Abbott.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously with those here. 9.3, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the purchase of one Elgin Broom Bear Sweeper from Owen Equipment in the amount of $377,386.26, utilizing Sourcewell contract 093021-ELG. Mr. Anderson. You gonna show us a picture of this beauty? I don't know, it kind of gets us excited when we see these cool little toys that we have to keep our city looking nice.
Without the ability to pass.
The last one was a spaceship.
Mayor, members of council, Mark Anderson, your Public Works Manager, here today to ask for your consideration of an expenditure of $377,386.26 to purchase one Broom Bear sweeper from Owen Equipment. Sweepers are used daily to basically keep the debris off the roadway and keep the sediment out of our stormwater collection system. They help reduce airborne pollutants, and they are used for snow removal cleanup or they're used after snowstorms and after accidents for debris removal. The sweeper that is being replaced is 10 years old. It's reaching the end of its service life. Sweepers have a extremely short life due to the abrasive material they pick up. Through our experience, we've found that replacement is better than refurbishment, being that the back is basically, the steel is worn through and there's not much left to rebuild. This contract would be joining with a Sourcewell for the purchase through Own Equipment, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the council? All right, no questions? How about a motion? Broom Bear Sweeper, I like it. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve the purchase of one Elgin Broom Bear Sweeper from Owen Equipment utilizing Sourcewell contract number 093021-ELG in the amount of $377,386.26.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously with all those present. Thank you, Mark. 9.4, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a reclassification, complement change, and updates to the management, professional, and technical employee resolution number 3415, Appendix A, with an estimated cost of $2,968 in FY '24 and $11,832 in FY '25.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and members of council. Ariana Wichapa, Human Resources Senior Analyst for the record. The item in front of you today is a reclassification request to bring added support to the Community Services Department. As mentioned above, with separate costs in fiscal year '24 of $2,968, fiscal year '25, $11,832. In addition to the reclass request, staff seeks to update the Appendix A of the Management Professionals and Technicals resolution, as required with the change, and in addition, previous changes that need to be finalized based on previous changes that were made and finally filled. Staff is recommending reclassifying the city planner position into an Assistant Community Services Director. While the city planner title will remain in the Appendix A, it will remain in there unfunded. The duties of the city planner will be taken on by the Assistant Community Services Director. If approved, reclassifying this position would allow the department to return to a previous structure where the Assistant Community Services Director incorporated the duties of a city planner and supported all 5 functional areas of community services, including planning. As the Community Services Department serves a broad mission, this support is needed in all 5 functional areas. The Assistant Community Services Director role will provide balance in most areas of department management, responsibility, operations, staff development, and leadership. In addition to this reclassification of the city planner, city staff will need to update Appendix A of the Management Professional and Technical Employee Resolution to reflect the addition of the Assistant Community Services Director title. Further, staff will update titles in Appendix A in relation to the evaluation of the previous Contracts and Risk Manager. With the departure of the previous Contracts and Risk Manager and the hiring of a new Risk Manager happening months apart from the end of fiscal year 23 to the beginning of fiscal year 24, updating the Appendix A to reflect the title and position changes is warranted. Therefore, staff should remove the Contracts and Risk Manager title and in its place add the Procurement and Contracts Manager. Finally, the complement should be updated to reflect the change, unfunding of the city planner position and funding of an Assistant Community Services Director. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Questions from the council? Okay, you must have done a great job. Looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve the reclassification, complement change, and updates to the Management, Professional, and Technical Employee Resolution number 3415, Appendix A, with an estimated cost of $2,968 in FY '24 and $11,832 in FY '25.
Mr. Anderson.
I hit my ask a question button too quickly, but it's actually a comment before I make a second, if I may. And I just want to say that I appreciate what's being done in the department. We have the largest department that has been thinly staffed over the years, and with the highest number of employees, I think it's vital that we make these changes. So well done, and with that, I second the motion.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously with those present. 9.5, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a reclassification and complement change in the police department, changing one police officer position to one police lieutenant position with an estimated cost of $29,468 in FY '24 and $127,698 in FY '25.
Good afternoon again, Mayor Lawson and members of council. Ariana Wichapa, Senior Human Resources Analyst for the record. This is much like the previous item. It is a reclassification request, this time coming out of the police department. And as you have on the recommended motion, it's changing one police officer position to one police lieutenant position, estimated cost of $29,468 in fiscal year '24 and $127,698 in fiscal year '25. The police department has an administrative need to assign mid-manager level work in their department to allow the appropriate support for all other levels in the hierarchy. Therefore, staff is requesting that one police officer position be reclassified to one police lieutenant. The department's need is arising out of an increase in administrative duties for the various special teams, such as the Homeless Outreach Protective Engagement Team, also known as HOPE, and the Neighborhood Policing Unit. Currently, all lieutenants share the administrative workload, but existing lieutenants are not able to spend the time needed on the field with newer officers as needed. Adding this additional lieutenant position would have primary administrative duties, allowing other lieutenants to provide support on the field as needed, which is essential, especially to such a new workforce on the field in patrol. If approved, the complement would reflect removing one police officer position and adding one police lieutenant. No Appendix A changes are required, as both positions already exist. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Okay, questions from the council? See none, that's looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
I move to approve the reclassification and complement changed in the police department, reclassifying one police officer position to one police lieutenant position.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously with those present. Thank you, Ariana. 9.6, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a construction contract AC 6044 with Anchor Concrete in the amount of $572,750.42 for the 2024 CDBG Phase 2 project on East Street, F Street, 12th Street, and it's federally funded with bid number 22/13-017 PWP WA 2024-242.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Amber Sosa, Transportation Manager. As introduced, this is a construction contract for our 2024 CDBG Phase 2 project, including E Street, F Street, and 12th Street. CDBG, as you know, stands for Community Development Block Grant, and this is a federally funded project. To direct your attention to the screen, the segments of our roads included in this project are E Street, F Street, and a small portion of 12th Street, and we're sitting just south of Prater Way and just south of Robert Mitchell Elementary School. The project scope identifies removing and replacing the deteriorated concrete infrastructure in this area. That includes the curb and gutter, sidewalks, and driveway approaches. It also includes upgrading any pedestrian ramps to make sure that they are current for ADA accessibility. We advertised this project on March 6th. We opened bids on March 27th. We received 7 qualifying bids, and today we're recommending approval of the low bid with Anchor Concrete at $572,750.42. I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions from the council? Great presentation. Looking for a motion. Mr. Abbott.
I move to approve the construction contract AC-6044 with Anchor Concrete in the amount of $572,750.42 for the 2024 CDBG Phase 2 project, E Street, F Street, and 12th Street, federally but funded. Bid number 22/13-017 PWP WA 2024-242.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously with those present. Okay, item 10, we have no, did I miss something?
9.7.
What'd I miss?
9.7.
Oh, that's right. That's what, see? Dale, I had already crossed it off of my list. 9.7, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a memorandum of understanding AC 6045 with the Regional Transportation Commission, RTC, to implement recommendations contained in the RTC's Intelligent Transportation System, or ITS, Strategic Master Plan.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council. Amber Sosa, Transportation Manager. Again, as introduced, this is a memorandum of understanding between the city and the RTC for a shared vision in implementing RTC's Intelligent Transportation System Strategic Master Plan. With me today to offer a couple of his insights is one of our newer senior civil engineers to the city of Sparks. This is Andrew Jankura. His work is currently focused in traffic and the movement of traffic. With that, I will turn you over to him.
Good afternoon, Council. Andrew Jankura, Senior Civil Engineer, Traffic. As summarized by the RTC, staff has reviewed and supports the master plan as it aims to improve the welfare of the traveling public by strengthening the integrity of our transportation system, benefiting the residents of Sparks. This is a no-cost obligation agreement for us. The RTC will secure funding as we implement the strategic plan. Should any future funding is proposed, a separate agreement will be presented to you before you for your consideration. Staff will work closely with the team at the RTC to ensure that any decisions made is in the best interest with the citizens of Sparks. Keep in mind that our other regional partners are a part of this process as well. Staff recommends that council approves the memorandum of understanding with the RTC as it pertains to the ITS Strategic Master Plan. I am open to answer any of your questions.
Questions from the council? Okay, well then we're Mr. Anderson.
Just have a question. So you talked about if there are differences of opinion or direction depending on the different municipalities, how will the conflict be resolved if we're all facing different opinions on something? My thought is specifically the transition yellow to red, which as I understand is not uniform across our community as a whole. How would those play out and how would they be resolved?
Thank you for your question. That would definitely be a discussion between us and the other local agencies, and then come to an agreement to ensure that our reds and all reds and our regional timing standards are the same across the region, so that it does not throw drivers off. An example raised, we've tried to match the reds between both cities. We will still try to work with the other parameters so that we ensure a equal and I can't think of the word right now, more uniform standard across the region.
Okay, thank you. And actually, I said that incorrectly. It's between red and green, as I understand.
Red and green.
The difference between them. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. And sounds like we'll be able to work it out if there are some differences of opinion.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Okay, well, then I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
I move to approve the Memorandum of Understanding AC 6045 with the Regional Transportation Commission to implement recommendations contained in RTC's Intelligent Transportation Systems Strategic Master Plan.
Ms. Spivey.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously with those present. We have no public hearing items for planning and zoning. We have no planning and zoning public hearings. Comments from the public. Madam Clerk, do we have any comments from the public?
We did not receive any additional.
Okay, anyone in the public wishing to make a comment at this time? Cadence, sat through the whole meeting. Thank you. All right. Announcements from the mayor, city council, and city manager. Got anything? Mr. Acting?
Nothing today, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson?
So this weekend is KTMB's Great Community Cleanup, and you have a couple parks here in Sparks that are going to be receiving some love from the community, Rock Park as well as Cottonwood Park. So I believe Mr. Abbott will be at Rock, and I'll be over at Cottonwood, and we would love to have you join us. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. You got anything, Mr. City Attorney? You're looking at me like you had something to say.
No.
Okay. All right, well, with that, we are adjourned.
We'll start the redevelopment agency meeting in just a minute. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Sparks Redevelopment Agency for Monday, April 22nd, 2024, with a roll call.
Chairperson Bybee.
Here.
Agency members Lawson. Here. Abbott.
Here.
Vanderwell. Here. Anderson.
Here.
Dare is absent. Chief Legal Officer Duncan. Here. Assistant Chief Administrative Officer Martini.
Here.
We have a quorum, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on to item 3.1, public comment. Do we have any public comment?
We do not.
And seeing none, I'll close that. Item 4.1, approval of the agenda. Looking for a motion? Agency Member Abbott?
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you. Agency Member Lawson?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion carries unanimously with the 5 of us. Item 5.1, discussion and possible approval of the minutes of the Sparks Redevelopment Agency meeting for March 25th, 2024. Do I have any corrections, additions, or a motion to approve? Agency Member Abbott?
I move to approve the minutes of the Sparks Redevelopment Agency meeting for March 25th, 2024.
Thank you. Agency Member Anderson?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, please vote. Motion carries unanimously with the 5 of us here. Item 6.1, consideration, possible acceptance of the report of the claims and bills approved for payment and appropriation transfers for the period of March 13th, 2024 through April 9th, 2024. Looking for a motion? Agency Member Anderson?
Move to accept the report of claims and bills and appropriation transfers for the period of March 13th, 2024 through April 9th, 2024.
Agency Member Vanderwell?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to 8.1, comments from the public. Madam Clerk?
We do not have any, Madam Chair.
And we don't have any public, so that's easy. We'll close that. Moving on to item 8.2, announcements from agency and Chief Administrative Officer. Mr. Martini?
None today.
Anyone else with the agency? Okay, seeing none, we are moving on to adjournment. We are adjourned.